It's Reiki Day. Let's go. Bringing you prayer. Bringing you universal life force energy. Reiki. Bringing up the Earth's energy. Bringing down the angels and their energies, heavenly hosts, all to create the planetary Reiki Gaia angel prayer infused flow. Welcome to Reiki Day Live, and I'm your host, Brother James. So let's get into the flow. Peace, 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 everybody. Assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, and peace be unto you. We thank everybody for coming to Reiki Day Live, our Reiki Day event during the days of prayer. And today I'm honored to have two good brothers who are going to share some stories with us, or actually a story with us. But it's a story that was between life and death. And it was their faith and their prayer that got them through. And I wanted to bring them on so they could tell their story for themselves so that we could take and have a deeper understanding of how important prayer is and the miraculous effects that could come because of it. Now, I'm saying miraculous because I know the two stories, and to me, it is miraculous. Now, my brothers are very humble. They may or may not see it the same way, but from my perspective, when you hear what they have to say and the way that they went about dealing with the circumstances, I think we can be able to agree that definitely, if you want to say minor miracle, okay, but I'm still putting it in the miraculous category. And so today we have Brother Aquil Mizan and Brother Sean Toure with us. And we thank you for taking time out, brothers. We thank you for just taking the time to share your story, which we will do in a couple of minutes. But we want you to introduce yourself to the people, and then please tell your story. So we'll start with Brother Aquil Mizan. How are you, brother? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Doing fine. Doing fine.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can go straight into your story, if you don't mind.
Okay. My name is, Aquil Mizan, member of the Nation of Islam. I'm an MC. I mean, excuse me. Well, started as an MC. I say more of a poet nowadays, but still had, the MC is still, still in there. Artist in general. A young, saxophonist. But a believer.
Yes, sir. So could you tell us a little bit about your story? We know that both of you have had near-death experiences, and that was why it was put on my heart to bring you both on, because a key component to both of your stories is your faith and your prayer. So could you tell the people a little bit about what happened, and then we'll move on from there.
On January the 1st, the evening of January the 1st, uh, um, 1993, there was an ongoing, security incident that had been escalating that prior week. And that particular day, as I was, doing my job and, trying to, striving to, carry out and, the, the what we would ask to carry out in terms of security. Um, one of the tenants in there who was also a neighbor, because I lived in that complex as well, got really heated, and he said I'll be back, and it just I don't really want to say it just so happened, nothing is coincidental, but as it would be the case, brother brother captains Akil, of excuse me, brother captains Akil and brother captain Dennis. Brother Captain Akil was the brother who was chiefly responsible for training the the FOI, the Muslim Brothers in Baltimore at that time, and brother Captain Dennis was chiefly responsible for had the same responsibility for the brothers in New York. And it just so happened that brother Captain Dennis needed to use the restroom, so he happened to come through right as this incident was escalating. So when we were in the hallway, like I said, it got to a point that the tenant said, I'll be back, and and I didn't. I actually didn't know, what that meant, really, really what that meant. But Brother Cat Makil, knew, what it meant, and so he came out and he had it. To me, it was a sword, but people, you could say it was a knife, but I would say the blade was about the distance from your hip to your knee. Mm-hmm. And as he went to, went to stab me, I think I blocked it, but I didn't block it with enough force to stop it, so it actually still went. And you can't really see it on here, but if you was, if you saw me or if you see me, face to face, you could see it if you look. The tip of the blade went in here, cut part of my tongue, not off, but cut part of my tongue, and it came out on the on my neck. Came out on the other side, of my neck. And as the situation as we tussling, I saw at a certain point that I knew I was cut. I was losing a lot of blood. Excuse me. And but I was left to be conscious. And brother Captain Dennis was right there. He said, "Brother, just keep praying, just keep praying, just keep praying," and in so many words. And instinctively, along with brother Captain Dennis, said, I knew that the only two things that I could do was one, as brother Captain Dennis said, to stay in prayer, keep saying the prayers, and also to remain calm, which remarkably, praise be to Allah, I was blessed to do, because at a certain point, with all of the blood that I was losing, I could feel a certain like tightness in my throat. I knew that it was possible that that I could die. There's a lot that could be said. I try to stay on point, but when the ambulance came, and they actually, I didn't find this out until actually a few years ago, even though this took place a little over 31 years ago, I want to say. But when the medics came, they had focused. Brother Captain Dennis, Brother Captain Akil had significant cuts on his hand, and also Brother Darrell, I think he had cuts on his hand as well. And the medics actually had tended more to them at first than me, though I had had the severity of that that kind of wound. And they basically had told Brother Captain Dennis that in so many words that they want to give their energy and time to those that are going to make it. In so many, they didn't say it directly, but in so many words, it was like, I mean, he's probably, looking at what's happening, all that, he's probably not going to make it. So, let's focus on those who are far more likely, to live. And and salute to Bud Captain again. Bud
Sir.
Captain, Brother Captain killed too. But Captain Dennis said if he don't make it, one of y'all might not make it. Help out.
Yes, sir.
Help. Take care of our brother. And
Absolutely.
and the way I'm saying it now, I'm in a peaceful mode. I'm I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure, that the medical staff felt the power of God when he when he said that. And not no
Absolutely.
and not no mystery God. So you know what I mean? So y'all
Yes,
can
sir.
get into that but anyway, but so they they tended to me and I praise be to Allah, I was actually able to be conscious right up until right up until surgery. I was aware, and alert, which was all of that blood loss was that was amazing. But I was in the hospital for I believe it was 8 days. Um, and at a certain point, well actually from day one, they had to do the trach. You could still the hole is not the hole, but you can see it, where it was right
Yes,
here.
sir.
They had to drill a hole in there so I could breathe and stuff. And they said that it cut my minor carotid artery, my minor jugular vein. And at a certain point, I remember, my parents were there, every day, and they were saying that, he may not talk again, and he may not, because it didn't cut my tongue off, but it cut into my, tongue, as well. And one of a number of interesting sidebar things. I think one of the doctors, I can't remember whether it was one of the doctors or one of the believers, was saying how it was, for lack of a better word choice, it was a blessing that the blade was as sharp as it was because it just cut right through. Had it not been, so sharp and on point, it would have dragged like, my, my internals and actually done even more damage, than it actually did. But when I was in the hospital, in my mind, so let me rewind a little bit. Hopefully, and y'all let me know if it doesn't, if I'm not saying it clearly. But again, this was January 1st, 93. In the late 80s, it was two books that I had read. One was called, The Power of Positive Thinking, and the other one was uh, As a Man Thinketh. And in both of those books, the of the many things that the authors wrote about was the power of positive thinking and how it can impact health, which is something. It was a seed that was planted in me, and also about a year or so before I was stabbed, um, um, Brother Captain Aquil had been shot. I want to say it was about eight times or so. I'm talking about in one sitting, and without trying to go through all of that, he obviously survived. But I saw how quick. I mean, we saw him maybe 4 or 5 days after the fact, and I mean, you if you didn't know what happened, you would have no idea what happened. It was almost like, though this was way before social media, like that meme that you sometimes see on social media is like, I don't look like what I've been through, type thing. But all of that to say, because of the seeds that were planted in those two books, and because I had seen how well and how quick Allah blessed, Brother Captain Akil to recover, and also because of one of one of the major teaching lectures that Don Blues Farrakhan gave. I forget what year, but I want to say it was 92. It was called God's Healing Power.
Right.
Those four things were, foundational. So in my mind, my belief was 100% that if I don't die, I'm going to recover 100%. Not that I knew it, not that, not that it had to happen. It's only, it's only by Allah's permission. But in my mind and in my heart and my spirit, that was, I'm like, because I seen, and another thing I forgot to mention, when I had talked about this the one time before in an extensive way in public. At a certain point, brother Captain Aquil, and brother Captain Dennis shared what happened to me, with the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and he said they told me that he said a prayer for me, not just a prayer in general, but for me personally, and I believe that of course the scripture teaches the prayers of the righteous availeth much,
Yes,
and
sir.
I believe that not along with, for lack of a better word choice, along with me staying in prayer and me striving to stay positive and, in my belief in Allah, there's no question in my mind that the personal prayer that the Honorable Minister, said for me was huge, in all of this because, like I said, after that, I was only in the hospital 8 days. I didn't even think about that until I was talking to, Edith Poet MC, Brother Eric Muhammad, recently. He brought that to, I was like, that's kind of, significant in itself. And, and, I remember I just, all while I was in there, I just, I heard some of the stuff the doctors were saying and stuff, but I didn't say anything to them. But in my mind, like I said, I'm like, if I don't die, I'm going to recover, 100%. And I remember, I wish I'm totally comfortable with saying what I'm about to say, but I feel like a lot of times, in real time, I'm not as able as I would like to be to convey the depth of passion and sentiment of my words. Like I believe you understand what I'm about to say, but it's way more deeper and passionate than my words will probably convey. But I forget the time duration. I want to say it was maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months. Not only did I return to work, but I returned to work at the same site. And and it was just me. It was a one-man site, you know, and I, you know, the spirit was on 1,000. I mean, I just, and it wasn't like an animated external, like externally, people who, if anybody saw me, they're like, man, he came back, but he looked the same, and calm by a lot of permission, calm and cool or whatever, collected. What I'm saying, praise be to Allah. But internally, in the mind, in the spirit, it I felt like how I imagined Muhammad Ali felt when he knocked out Sonny Liston for the first time. Just that, but not the braggadocious way, but not I am the greatest, but Allah is the great, Allahu Akbar, because God is the greatest. Because to to endure that kind of a thing, and it's a blessing. Now I can't take, people say, a lot of times, I mean, people, a lot of times people big me up, and I'm thankful. I'm super grateful, and and for brother Darrell, brother Captain Aquil, brother Captain Dennis, obviously the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. You know what I mean? All the believers, Muhammad Mosque #6, that prayers, love, money, time, and you know, and some things that don't may not necessarily need to be said, but um, it's a blessing is the thing. Like I can't. I feel like I was blessed to do certain things, but I feel like I feel like now I'll say this and I'll stop. Inshallah, that I feel like it wasn't just me. That was the God, Allah, in me, and and through me. So I'm thankful. I paused there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean,
Mm.
Ooh. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't even know what really to say after a story like that. When something like that happens, I definitely realize and recognize that you can't say you couldn't see God in the whole situation, mainly because of the fact that people were in place. Like you said, Brother Daryl, Brother Aquil, Brother Dennis, people were happened to be in place at the time that this happened.
Right.
And they took the right actions.
Right.
They didn't run away. You know what I mean? Just say, well, just call the ambulance. You know what I'm saying? That they were active in the situation, knowing that they themselves could be hurt. They
Right.
saw the bleed.
Right.
But
I mean,
from
we
my
say,
understanding,
oh, my bad. Go
because if I remember the story, Brother Akil grabbed the blade barehanded.
Wow.
I don't know too many people are willing to do all that. You know what I mean? I don't know too many people that's willing to do all that.
Yes,
and then for, like you said, for Brother Dennis to be there to keep the staff in line with some words of caution and advice. I'm just saying, when you look at that whole picture, it's like Allah is definitely involved in the whole situation.
without
And
doubt.
we're going to come back to that because I definitely got some questions to ask you about the situation. But let's move on to Brother Toure. Let's make sure we get his story in here too. Because my brother is still in recovery right now, I'm going to kind of just brief what happened because we don't want him to spend too much time trying to go through it. Because we want him to focus mainly on the faith, the prayer, and what he had to do to recover. But to sum it up in just a couple of sentences, first, our brother finds out that he has cancer. Then in February, he ended up having a stroke. Oh, I'm sorry.
It happened simultaneously. So.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Wow.
So just I just wanted to correct
Thank
you.
you.
So.
Thank you, bro. We want the real story.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing fake tied to me. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So simultaneously, wow, that's even more mind-boggling. You find out you have cancer, and then you have a stroke.
Yes.
That left him incapacitated. But yet, what, 5 or 6 months later, we see our brother right here, live and in person. He's talking, but he's undergoing speech therapy. He has to do physical therapy. And I definitely wanted him on here because I told him personally that I believe that his story needs to be told because I believe that Allah allowed it to happen to him so that his story could be told and we begin to end our excuses. Because you're going to understand once he starts talking about what he's had to do and go through to get to just where he is and the mindset that he had to use to get there, you'll understand that his story needs to be told because we all need to stop having excuses. I'm sorry, you can be mad at me, but he's going to help end excuses when he tells us what he has been doing and is doing to recuperate. So I let brother Toure take it from there. Like what were some of the things that you've been doing, brother, that you had to do to come back, and especially what type of prayers were you saying, and what type of mindset did you have when you was making these prayers?
Yes. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you and Brother Akil for having me on. I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank
It's
you.
it's been a arduous and long task of the healing process, but I will say this: all praise due to Allah. I'm alive. I'm thankful to be alive, but most of all, it's like James, you alluded to this, that you know I'm just really lucky and happy to be alive. And I just can't put enough emphasis on that, you know. Um, on I'm not sure if I remember the date or not, but I want to say it was February 12th. I went into the hospital, and this was before the cancer diagnosis, before the aortic valve rupture, and even before the stroke. I just went into the hospital as a routine checkup. I just, just uh, I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know exactly what was wrong. And so I was suddenly rushed into emergency surgery. And through that emergency surgery, basically my aortic valve ruptured. And so the aortic valve is, I would say, is like one of the most important arteries in the body that has that controls like blood flow and things like that. It, to the medical explanation for it. And
Yes.
so along with the rupture, I had a stroke. The stroke came from the aortic valve rupture. And also, as they were diagnosing me, they also found out that I had cancer as well. So it's like,
Ooh,
you know, so you talk about like a hydrogen bomb
so,
going off. It's like it wasn't just a stroke. It wasn't just the aortic valve rupturing. It was just all of those things happening at one time.
mm,
And so it's been a long task, um just healing, and just and when I say healing, I mean like therapy. Everything has been like a task for me, because I couldn't walk. I couldn't even talk. Like I couldn't even see. Like my vision has been altered because of the stroke. And so because of the just the altering of my um physical capabilities, I just I've had just a long and arduous task of just healing myself. And so so eventually I guess it would be March. I started walking again. And probably even probably not even in March, probably April, I started walking again. And so that's led to me just being like just really appreciative of just God's blessing on my life, man. And I'm just I'm 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 lucky, but I'm not only lucky, but just I I'm blessed. I'm blessed that like God, first of all, that I'm alive. Like I'm here to see you and like talk to you. Like
yes,
I'm
sir.
just really, really blessed. But most importantly, um, I just my my tenacity to survive, even though like I am like stuttering my words and stuff like that. I I still give myself credit to just be here, and also just be alive, you know, and you know, my parents have, like, my parents, my mate, my teammate Joy, who like is just, you know, coaching me, feeding me everything, um from like my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece and nephews, my sisters, my you know, I'm blessed. And you know, I just every day I'm getting better and better and better. But the the thing that I really can say most is my attitude through the whole thing has been positive,
Yes, sir.
regardless of what has been dealt to me. I know that my positive outlook has been my saving grace. And I just thank Allah that I'm alive. But most of all, I'm thanking my uh, my positive attitude has me surviving every day, each day. And you know, I just want to thank you again, Brother James and Brother Akil, for me, for letting me do the show. And you know, and so certainly when I speak again and I'm on a show again, I'll be speaking more clear, you know.
Yes, sir.
But I want to say this to you all: I love you and thank you so much.
Yes, sir. We definitely love you too, brother. You know, I told you, Dad. You know, um, we don't want any more good soldiers to go down, not by themselves. You
Yes.
know what I mean? We got your back.
Yeah.
But let me ask this. I want to ask both of you this question. Okay, surgery time.
Mhm.
What was your prayer?
Wow. Well, if you're asking me surgery time, um, I wasn't even conscious when my surgery
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
place. So like, you know, if as far as my consciousness was concerned, I was like I was near death. And so it's like you know, yeah, I was I don't even know, like I came, put it like this. I went into surgery talking, and when I went out, I didn't even know my name. So, you
Wow.
know, I was, and when I say I didn't know my name, I didn't even know how to write, spell my name, anything. Like I just, I was a new person. I
Yes,
was a
sir.
new person when I came out of the surgery. So, you know.
Brother Akil.
Um, I don't have 100% clear memory of what the prayers were, other than I believe repeating the Al Fatiha in my I mean the opening prayer, and but I think I was repeating those prayers, but I do know, and again, to me this was just a blessing, but the spirit was, of course, I want to live, but the spirit was that I pray that Allah bless me, to be content with whatever His will is, and
Mhm.
I was left to do that. But again, that 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 was the spirit. But I think in terms of the direct question, I was just repeating the prescribed prayers in my mind. But that's what because that's what the spirit was.
But I believe both of you would probably agree that, you know, when you were making prayers during this process, uh, after surgery and so on and so forth. I think, as we were talking, both of you mentioned that your mental state, your mind state, was that you were pretty much on, I'm going to recover.
Yes.
I'm going to recover. As a matter of fact, Brother Akil, I believe you said you took it so far as to say 100% recover. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So, what I believe the audience wants to know is how in the world did you have that mindset after what happened to you? How did you keep so mentally strong and your belief in your prayer so strong after having gone through what you both went through? Whichever one of you wants to go first, please.
I gotta say, you know, and I hope, I hope, I hope and pray that I don't sound cliche, you know, in this, but I, you know, I'm thankful to Allah who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. You know, because I, again, you know, I just, the quick verse, I'll say that, and I'll say this. Sometimes as believers, we do things, and sometimes it's what we do, and sometimes it's more often it's what Allah blesses us to do, whether we perceive it that way in real time or not. Because I, you know, I mean, I was blessed to, you know, to have a positive mindset, but that's a blessing. I don't look at that through the lens of, you know, brother, I killed this brother. You know, you know, that was a blessing because, but I will say, you know, again, you know, the benefit, you know, as again, you know, that scripture, you know, the prayers of the righteous avail as much, and you know, all the prayers of the believers, the specific and you know, personal prayer of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, all of these things, you know, are totally foundational in my, you know, in my quote unquote strength. But again, it's the God because. But having said that, again, I go back to you know the the things that always stay with me from one reading As a Man Thinketh, two reading the power of positive thinking, three the lecture by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, God's Healing Power, and four I, among many, personally saw how well and how quick Brother Captain Aquil recovered physically and mentally and spiritually as far as we could see, literally just days after being shot multiple times and other things that he went through in that ordeal. I saw, um, we saw his faith and works, and we saw how well, you know, he recovered. You know, what I mean, like, you know, to me, um, it would. I don't know why this analogy is coming to mind. You know, this never came to me like this, but like it would be, to me, what Brother Cat McKill was left, and this is oversimplifying it, but it's just an analogy. It's like, you know, most hip hop fans know, well, of a certain age, know that, you know, Tupac was shot multiple times. On top of the times he was shot, you know, and he lived.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the equivalent, not the equivalent, it would be like parallel almost to like, you know, Tupac getting, you know, shot all of those times on a, you know, on a Tuesday. And then that Sunday he's on stage type of thing.
Right.
Like that would be, you know, you know, you shot 8, 9 times, all this in the whole, and that's, it's more to it than that. But you know, but all that to say, it was literally for me and for us, it was almost on some superhero time. I'm talking about how, you know, how well and how quick but Cat McHale came back. and it wasn't something that, I mean, he did talk about it, but it wasn't so much what he said out his mouth. It was the way I said when I was talking about something else. Well, it was what he said with his action, what he said with his faith, what he said with his spirit, what he said in his demeanor, even when he wasn't physically talking. Like I'm a soldier. You know what I mean? You fall down, you get up, you come back, and he was, well, is strong, but in those moments was super strong, and those things, those things was foundational. Those things planted, all those things planted seed thoughts and seed spirits in me that sprouted at certain times, by a lot of permission. But salute to to all
Yes, sir.
love, to them.
Yes, sir. Brother Toure, what did you do to stay mentally strong? I mean, especially when we're talking about the fact that you lost control of your body, and like you said, your sight was going. I mean, help us to understand, how did you stay faithful and strong to the God, and especially know, because you said it, you knew you was going to come back. If you didn't pass away, there was no doubt in your mind, I'm going to get back to where I was, and if not, better. What did you do, or what did you count on to help get you there? I mean, for you to have that type of mentality.
I would have to say that my faith in God,
Mm-hmm.
my faith just it's brought me through everything.
Yes, sir.
And let me say this, like I can't say that like I have every day a positive day every day, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
it's like, because I'm still recovering, but it's like in as long as recovery is still a current state, I can't speak, I can't speak like in past tense, but I will say that every day I just have a positive attitude, and um, my partner Joy is like just really just helping me just to understand and process what happened to my body.
Mm.
As I was a marathon runner before my accident, so it's like I'm recovering from my ego. It's not only recovery, but my soul is in recovery.
Daddy,
And
Daddy,
I just I want,
Daddy.
as long as I'm like just really um focusing on
Hey,
my
Daddy.
soul and the recovery of my soul, then I know that like God will bless me. As long as I have a positive outlook, God will bless me. As long as I have a just resilient outlook about life, God will bless me.
And one more thing, brothers. The Holy Quran says hard trials are necessary to establish truth. So, having gone through the ordeals that you've gone through, what truths have you learned about yourself, your faith, prayer, and just the situations in general that happen? Um, Anybody who wants to go first, Brother Akil, Brother
I
Toure?
wanna I wanna say, that in those moments, that it showed, that, praise be to Allah, I'm a true believer. But of course, you know, as his brother Omar, may Allah be pleased with him, he would often say, used to bees don't make honey. So it's not just about, for me, what I did. It's also, you know, the day of judgment in which we now live in terms of, whatever I'm doing or not doing now. So, it's ongoing. But I want to say that, that it's shown that I'm a true believer. Just, say that I kind of keep echoing those same points, but I say it from a slightly different angle that, it bears witness to, the power of positive thinking. And, as a man or woman thinking, so is, he or she in terms of, channeling, that positive energy. Also, again, in the spirit of that lecture, I mean, it shows, God's healing power, God's power to heal, us. I'm, just one of, many examples, countless people, of countless believers of all faiths, and not just and spiritual people in general. There's countless, miracles or remarkable, events like that that this bears witness to God's power to heal, and just if we strive to tap in and do our part in that in the healing process. And again, I hope I don't sound cliche, but I just feel like a lot of times ultimately it's about God's healing power, but I believe that oftentimes the Most High within our healing process gives us degrees of responsibility / instruction, to say, okay, yes, you're praying to me. Yes, you're meditating on my word. Yes, you're doing these things, but there's things that we have to do. You know what I mean? That we have to do. It may be, striving to clean up how we think. How we think. How we eat. Because something can be good, but it may not be all good. So like we may, like I know, I know I'm definitely not perfect. I know I definitely, have flaws. So I mean, and if, those may be some of the things that I have to, to clean up whenever I'm presented with different, different, different health challenges, what I mean, whether it was, during COVID or, what I mean, common cold, whatever the case may be. All that to say, I say this in our pause, I think we have to, I believe it's good for us to one, to be present of the power of the Most High to heal, but it's nearly equally as good for us to be mindful of, and I'm talking to myself first, to be mindful of our personal responsibility in our healing process, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Most definitely. How about you, Brother Toure? What truths did you learn from your harsh ordeal?
The truth that I learned was that just again, just I don't mean to repeat myself, but just as long as I had a positive outlook, I knew that, and I will say, I know that I will have a positive recovery. And I'm speaking present tense, not like future tense, because I think that I'm my recovery is still a act in progress, but as long as I knew that I know that I have a positive outlook, God is going to look out for me no matter what. And I I just believe that. And it was it's been that simple. It was that simple for me. And I thank God for just giving me faith, because like and and actually challenging me to even like this challenging my faith, challenging my beliefs, and knowing that that like that God is a true and living God, and that like I don't have to like second guess God's presence when certain things happen. It's like, I've had like so many uh so much evidence that God is with me. I can't speak negatively about God. I can't speak negatively about God's grace. I can't speak negatively about anything. Just my faith has in fact, my faith has actually improved because because of the challenge, because of the challenges that I've been through. And so whether it's like just seeing my vision being clear, whether it's uh having a stroke, whether it's the other things that I've been through physically, I just know that God is with me. And as long as I know that, I'm like, what can be what can go wrong? What can happen to me? I'm I'm surely I'm not indestructible, right?
Yes, sir.
But I know that nothing can kill my soul. And nothing can kill my body, my maybe my physical body,
Right.
but not my the spirit in which I'm living with now. And as long as I think that, as long as I believe that, I know that I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. And I don't know how I am like so optimistic sometimes. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But every day I get up, every day me and Joy get up, I just say I'm going to survive, and this is what I'm going to do today. This is what I'm going to do today. So
I had
Okay.
a question for you, brother Toure. If you shared your thoughts too, for Jane. But like for years on social media, um, I've always seen you express, and of course in real life, you know what I mean. It's always been, and you and my interactions, it's always been like positive energy. Um, and when I see you, like different things, on social media, whether it was about Reiki or mental health, um, uh, community work. Um, I guess, how much do you think all of the positive energy that you've invested in real
mm,
life on social media, in terms of the willpower that you not only demonstrated, I'm talking about prior to all of this, like in terms of, you know, your will to carve your body into more of the shape that you wanted, you know, in terms of that, and you know, running marathons, and you know, running, you know, multiple marathons, and sharing your a lot of these experiences in real time. Like, how do you think all of that aided or aids in your current positive energy, and the way in which like your community has surrounded you and you know and embraced you?
Man, that's a great question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a great question. Um, I think that the positive energy can be contagious. And I think that as long as, you know, I had that spirit of positivity, um, there, it's not like I knew that this ordeal was gonna happen, right? Like I didn't know that, you know, I was gonna have a stroke. I didn't know that I was going to be diagnosed with cancer. But that what I knew was that I if I kept a positive attitude, that it would be okay. And some days, like I said before, I didn't want to have wake up with a positive attitude. You know, some days I just you know, I just wanted I wanted to like just uh be like down on myself. But you know, it, but those moments only lasted for like 5 minutes. You know, it was like,
That's a blessing.
you know, I can't think like this. So, you know, if I'm answering your question, brother Aquil, it was just the positive mindset is I believe that the positive mindset was contagious, and as a result, I've lived it. I'm living it, and as long as I'm living it that way, it's like I, you know, it's proof is the proof is in the pudding. You know, I'm just, you know, I'm just every day I'm challenging myself to uh just not only have a positive outlook, but also like just to live and to man, and just like, yeah, it's just to live and survive, man. That's it. That's it. But great question, man.
Well, we're gonna move along with that question, brother Akil. I'm going to ask you. I've heard you say before that while you was recuperating, you were constantly um, reading scripture, reading the study guides, and so on and so forth. So we could say that that's like the people that you're talking about with Brother Toure. So how did that affect you? Like what happened as you were doing more study after the surgery and so on and so forth? How well did that push you through?
Oh, I'm gonna just say what comes to mind. When I when I remember when, you know, brother, I believe he was the first officer at that time, brother, you know, brother Larry, you know, salute to him as well. When he came to the hospital, he asked, you know, did you know, he when, you know, he was it was other people there, but you know, he was asking, you know, on behalf of the, you know, the FOI and believers, you know, saying, let us know anything you need. And you know, and he said, and he told me, I didn't remember it initially, but he said that I asked if he could bring my study guides to this while I was in the hospital.
Right.
So it's I pray I pray I know what I'm thinking. I just pray that it comes out clearly. But they say, there's that old saying, God doesn't close a door without opening a window. And I remember around in the around the mid 90s, I began to see in a number of different settings, realms, that without trying to go into the whole lecture, that within so many blessings, there are trials, and within so many trials, there are blessings.
Mm.
And so I remember, being, I'm still obviously, searching for my wife, but I believe in the absence. I believe that if I would have had the woman that I wanted in that time frame, which of course there's innumerable blessings in that, but I believe that if I would have had her at that time, that I may have inordinately sought refuge in her. But in
Mm.
the absence of her, the only, the only thing that I really had or predominantly had was the call on Allah. And I believe it's study guide number 9 that's entitled the intimate relationship with Rabbi Alameen, which means the Lord of the world. And so, it being in that situation, it just although of course that was and is a trial for sure, the blessing within that trial was that it forced me, inspired me to call on Allah more, because I didn't if again if I would have been blessed to be married at that time, I'm sure I would have wanted to talk on the phone or in person, to sister so and so. But in the absence of that, I needed consolation. So um, it was in the, I found that and find that, in the, in the teachings and scripture.
So from listening to you, brothers, it's positive outlook, looking at the trial in the right way.
Yes.
As well.
Mm-hmm.
And also understanding that you play a major role in your own recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
You know what I'm saying? Not just leaving it in a prayer, but you made the prayer, but then you also made the commitment to yourselves. I'm going to be 100%, and I'm going to do what's necessary. You know. And so these things, this is why I wanted to have this conversation during the days of prayer, because these are the things that we need to put together. Prayer, we all know prayer is good, but there are different components that we need to put to it to really make it super effective, so that we can get and achieve the things that we're praying for. And on that note, I just want to ask you this will be your final question. What is the main thing that you want the people to understand and take away from this conversation, as far as anything that you think they could do to kind of avoid these situations if possible, but definitely what you want them to know? But look, if you ever come into a situation like this, oh, do this, look out for that, so on and so forth. So whoever wants to go first.
If I can go first, I would say just your attitude controls your latitude.
Yes, sir.
if you go into a challenging task and you have a positive attitude, I believe that God will see you through. And I just I just I'm like, I really believe that. And I think just that my faith and my belief in that has driven me to live that in the flesh. I'm like I believe I'm the personification of resilience. And I I just want to live and see every day. And as long as I have the will to live, then I know that God will bless me. I don't know like how he would bless me. Right? Because all these things happen to me, but I know uh that God is looking out for me. And as long as I believe that and I know that, I believe that I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be strong, and I'm gonna be all right. So that's what I believe.
Yes, sir. Brother Akil, your parting words.
I would say, in the context of, of our healing or our striving to return to wellness or a higher level of wellness, I would, leave with a quote, a quote of the Honorable Minister, to work like everything depends on you and pray like everything depends on Allah God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And one thing I want to mention, and those who know me and have talked to me, they've heard me say this before. I want to congratulate these two brothers because to me, they have graduated from belief into knowing. People need to understand there is a difference. It's you start off as a believer because you can't prove everything. You know what I'm saying? It is more of a belief. But when you're taken through trials like these two brothers, hardcore trials turn you into a knower because you know that you went past anything that you could do. There was nothing else you could have done. You didn't save yourself. So I congratulate you two because from my point of view, you two are knowers because you had your trial and your faith and your belief and your prayers were on trial, but you pulled through. And like I said, the main thing I want everybody to take away with is that these two brothers pulled through and they didn't have too much doubt, because that's the main thing that kills us is doubt. Anybody who's an energy worker, you understand doubt can cut your energy in half. As soon as you start doubting what you're trying to do, if it's possible, oh my goodness, but what about, I'm not strong enough? When you start saying that, your power starts going, shrinking.
Yeah.
But these two brothers didn't lose their faith. And as Brother Toure said, it got stronger. So they're coming out stronger. And now they're knowers because, again, you can't really get too much of a worse trial than being on the brink of death.
Man.
And being able to come back. Your trials don't get too much worse than that. I mean, there are definitely some trials that make you want to feel like you want to die. But I mean, to actually be there is a whole different program. And these two brothers, to me, this is why I hold them both in high esteem in my book because of the fact that they stayed strong, even though Brother Toure said, there's some days you wake up, he never stayed there. You know what I mean? He still kept pushing. So I just want to say to my brothers, salute, for I believe in the way how I look at the situation. You have gone from believers to knowers because you've had your life literally on the line, but you stayed true. You came through the situation and still have a beautiful mindset, mentality, and love for the God. So from my understanding, from the way how I look at things, you've definitely graduated to knowers, and we expect, some good things to come from you. I once again thank you for taking time out of your day. I know both of you have things to do, but we appreciate you, and we appreciate you being transparent and telling your story in a way that we all can relate to it. I mean, wow, Brother Aquil, woo, that was definitely an ordeal. And Brother Toure, wow, to have that many things hit you at one time. But the main reason I wanted to have you both on here is because of the fact that you kept a good outlook. I've spoken to both of you, and your attitude has just gotten better. It never went down. You didn't turn against the Creator, which most people, or I'll say a lot of people, in both of your situations may turn against God and starts talking about why me? I've done this and I'll do this, and why would you let this happen to me, and so on and so forth. But just the fact that you two were able to keep a good mindset, a steady faith, that's why I wanted you on here to tell your story, so the rest of us can understand that's what's necessary to have some of these miraculous things happen. Because both of our brothers are still here, still here, still looking good, still working hard. And, as Brother Aquil said, unless you write up on him, you can't see the scars. And with his attitude, you would never know unless he told you. Brother Toure, the same thing. He is coming, bringing his body back. You see him smiling. You don't see him gloomy. Woe is me, woe is me. And we got to love that. We got to treasure that. We got to honor that, and let it be a lesson for the rest of us. So with that, I'll bring everything to a close for this Reiki Day Live session. I pray that all of you who watch walk away with some good things to help you to improve your prayer and your faith. And with that, we all say peace.
Peace. Amen.